back and ready to go. We got great basketball conversation today. McNutt is here. Vinny is here. The Windman will be with us. Full complement of football conversation as well. We'll get to those, but we begin with a flurry of Game 7. There were 3 of them across the NBA and NHL yesterday. Let's take them, starting with the Raptors and Cavaliers last night. Raptors playing without Brandon Ingram. He's got the right heel injury that he banged up in Game 5. Minute left in the first half. Cavs were down 6 in this game, Jay, and then they just took over. That's Harden. They would get it to a tie at halftime, and then Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell made some shots. Jared Allen was the absolute star in this game with how he dominated the offensive glass and dominated them down low in the block.
You're exactly right. That's Mitchell giving the Cavs a 9-point lead, but then it would be Allen. Watch them turning defense into offense. Remember, this is a game they were trailing. Now they're up by 13, and Jared Allen had a double-double in the third quarter.
That's crazy, Greeny.
Alone. Cavs up 19 after 3, and it was pretty much a coronation from there, too. Hey, Vinny, look how many defenders he beats. That's Donovan Mitchell beats on this play. He got them all. I think that's a minimum of 4 out of the 5. If I set the over-under at 4.5. So the Cavaliers advance, play in the second round after a couple of tough moments. The home team won every game in that series. The home team in this series was Detroit for Game 7, looking to climb out of a 3-1 hole against the Magic. Same thing they did to them back in 2003. The score was tied late in the second quarter of this game, and then Tobias Harris went nuts.
He went 18 points in the second quarter and really was that complimentary piece to Cade Cunningham in the way they closed it in Game 6.
In like a 2-minute stretch at the end of the second quarter, it went from tied to the Pistons up 11, and then Vinny in the third quarter, they just took over.
Yeah, at some point in Game 7, you realize you're the better team, and things start to fall the way that they were supposed to.
Monica, that one falls for Jenkins to give the Pistons a 19-point lead going to the fourth quarter. And if you're going to give credit someplace, let's give it to Cade Cunningham.
Give it to him, Greeny.
When his team needed him, he came up huge.
32 last night, but also he had 12 assists. That was the first time he had double-digit assists since Game 2 in this series. That's a big deal.
But Shaq kept saying they need one of the others to get it done. And Tobias Harris had 30 points. And so the Pistons win their first playoff series in 6,564 days. They will advance to the second round, and so the EAST Semifinals are set. Detroit gets the Cavs. That starts tomorrow. Season series split 2 games each. DraftKings has Detroit, the slight favorite to win. On the other side, starting tonight, it will be the Knicks and Sixers. They also split 2 games. DraftKings has the Knicks as the favorites, and so that takes us to the world's most famous arena, where they will play Game 1 tonight. And the health of Joel Embiid is always the storyline, and this series is certainly no exception. How many times did he get hurt in that game? Let me count the ways
oh my God.
that we thought Joel Embiid. There's the legendary Monty Python sketch where the guy just keeps getting limbs cut off and he just keeps on fighting. That's what Embiid looked like the other night. He's limping. He's being stretched on the sideline by like 5 different people. Ultimately, though, he would play the whole game, play one of his best playoff games ever, and the Sixers would stun the Celtics and stun the world by getting here. So let's start there. What do we know about Joel Embiid, and what do we expect as far as his status for Game 1 tonight?
Well, Greeny, he's not on the injury report. So that, to me, says that they feel pretty confident that he's going to play. He's not even questionable, which is giving him a little wiggle room. So how great is he going to be throughout the course of playing every other day for 14 days? That's the question here. How effective is he going to be? Because he's still recovering. Like, you think because of a player's back that he's all the way back. Joel Embiid is still recovering from having an internal surgery happen not too long ago. So let's hold our horses before we're saying that Joel Embiid is the MVP version of himself.
This was the moment I'm talking about. Look at this.
This was pretty wild.
I mean, this is in the second half of the game the other night. He's playing the playoff game of his life. They're in an unbelievable battle with the Celtics, and they got 5 guys stretching him over there at once. Jay Will.
You know, Ben said, let's hold our horses. And I hearing that line then attached to Joel Embiid, I've been holding my horse for what do you mean? At some point, though, we're all being competitive, right? Everybody's injured. Everybody's trying to learn how to fight through that. And the measure of his greatness is going to be how he handles the injuries. Look, he is the key in this game. Boston allowed him to take his time, to conserve his energy. The Knicks can't afford to do that. But the way he plays, if he's aggressive, it comes down to this Karl Anthony Towns matchup. It's the biggest matchup for me in the playoffs in the second round.
Okay, so let me sort of start it all the way at its core, and then we'll work our way up to that. We will have plenty of time, by the way. We set aside a block of time to talk about the Celtics and Sixers Game 7, and the Celtics in particular. We'll do that in a little while. But let's get now to what we have in front of us.
Okay.
Monica, she does the Knicks games on radio, for those who don't know. I had Alan here on Friday, and I said, if you injected the Knicks with truth serum, who would they want to play in? He said Boston. He said this team was built to play Boston. So what do the matchups tell you now that it's the series no one expected, which is Knicks-Sixers?
Well, I would agree with what Alan Hahn said. However, as I look at this Knicks team, part of the difference maker to me is Mitchell Robinson. Now, you go back 2 years ago in that series, Joel Embiid pulls Robinson down in Game 3, and Robinson doesn't play the rest of that series. I do think that they are built well to deal with this Philadelphia 76ers team. Is it the ideal matchup? Maybe not. But I think matchup, Maxey and Brunson, you obviously got speed versus strength at that situation. Then you've got the Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid, Mitchell Robinson piece of it all. Will Towns be the hub that we saw him develop into in the Atlanta matchup? Can he draw Embiid away from the paint? In the same breath, can he stay on the floor and not get in foul trouble dealing with the size of Embiid?
And then you made an interesting point here as we start this series. I was saying, Jay, I remember you were in studio every day during this. The Knicks and Sixers played an unbelievably dramatic 6-game opening round 2 years ago. And so I'm sitting here licking my chops for more of that. And you said these are very, very different teams.
Yeah, when you add the variables in it, they look the same. But VJ Edgecombe wasn't there. Paul George wasn't there. Tom Thibodeau was on the sidelines. The Knicks play a completely different style of basketball. So while there is some level of familiarity, this is going to be different basketball. They're going to have to, lack of a better phrase, they're going to have to court each other the first couple of games and get used to each other. They haven't played each other since, I want to say, February, Monica? Like, these are 2 different ball clubs. Neither team won on their own home floor this season. That's what makes it, to me, a little wonky to predict before Game 1.
So let's get it all the way back then to the point that you were making. You think the matchup of this series will be Towns versus Embiid?
Well, look, I think if Joel Embiid is able to get the Knicks to play with their dual bigs and Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns, that's a win. Right? Think about when they played against Boston. Luka Garza was on the court. You allow him to kind of sit in the paint. He's going to be in drop coverage most of the time, right? But the way you get him out of that is where you can play Cat at the 5, or you actually go with a small lineup. The best way to dissect Joel Embiid and take away his legs offensively is to make him run around on the perimeter defensively. You do that with a small lineup. You do that with Cat not being in foul trouble. You do that Cat attacking him off the dribble and playing that matchup basketball. That's how the Knicks have to win this series.
So the underrated, well, I shouldn't say underrated, but maybe the unsung piece of this then becomes the play of OG Anunoby. Because if you go back 2 years ago, if you can draw anything from that series, because you're right, Vinny, these teams do look fundamentally different. But if you go back to Game 6, Josh Hart shooting the 3 well in that series 2 years ago, and OG Anunoby ends up finishing the series defending Joel Embiid, to your point about going smaller.
But also Karl Anthony Towns. There was a game earlier this season where Joel Embiid got him fouled out in 16 minutes. Right? So all these things that we see about Karl Anthony Towns, like all the flexing, just be smart defensively. You cannot be in foul trouble in this series against Joel.
And not just that, I think it's important. Like, Karl Anthony Towns was a hub, but he was 3rd in shots in that series. I don't think he can afford to be 3rd in shots and passing the ball around. He has to occupy Joel Embiid in this series. He has to take a lot of shots. He has to be aggressive. And we're talking about Karl Towns being in foul trouble. He has to get Joel Embiid in foul trouble. He can't let Embiid just sit in the paint. Joel did not have to guard Neemias Queta and the Celtics bevy of centers. He's got to guard Karl Anthony Towns. Karl has to be aggressive and damn near the #1 option.
To your point, though, of the hub, as you're watching this, part of why the hub works so well versus Atlanta is because when the Knicks went to their screening options, they put Atlanta in difficult positions in terms of guarding the 2nd and 3rd action as Karl Anthony Towns is sitting there quarterbacking, right? The Sixers, at least with their starting lineup, I don't think they have the same sort of issue. Kelly Oubre, VJ Edgecombe, Maxey, Paul George even, they're fine dispatching those guys as defenders to switch as you please.
I know I've been saying this throughout the course of the year, but we just saw Cleveland go to Game 7, 76ers go to Game 7, Pistons go to Game 7. Did the Knicks go to Game 7?
They did not.
Okay, so they should have their legs.
They played 5 and 1/4 games in this series.
Great. So we have Cade Cunningham with the collapsed lung.
Yeah.
We have Cleveland that's trying to figure out James Harden come back in the lineup. We have Joel Embiid. We don't know if he's sustainable or not. Like, you could not ask for a better opportunity.
And you got home court.
Than this
You're
year
right.
Yes.
for
You're
the
right.
New York. I've been saying
Right.
it all
You're right.
year long.
So
it has to be no excuses.
You're right.
This is why you have Mikal Bridges. This is why you got Karl Anthony Towns. Or you're looking at blowing this thing up moving forward.
This is it sets it up for New York Knicks fans to be nothing but disappointed. There we go, Greeny.
It's like I said the other day.
It's-
I came in here the other day and I said the Knicks are going to the finals. if you watch the way they're playing right now, the way this thing has broken for them, look, if not now, then when? To your
Never.
point, they're not going to have to go through Boston, which I don't care what anybody says. You think the Knicks were built to beat them? The Celtics wanted them. The Celtics wanted their shot at the Knicks. It didn't happen. Tatum gets hurt. All the rest of that, we saw what happened. But if you look at the way this thing is broken, the Knicks have home court advantage here. They got Cleveland and Detroit on the other side. If not now, then when, I think.
This
for
is,
the Knicks.
and also subsequently, doesn't this set up as the ultimate Karl Anthony Towns revenge tour?
Yes.
You go against Joel Embiid in the semifinals, your own personal boogeyman. They got into a fight. Now, granted, they pieced it up. It's been about 5 or 6 years. They are good now. I've heard from both sides
Good.
that they are good now. They have
good.
connected. I'm not saying that they like each other.
Good.
I'm saying that they're good now. And then let's say you get past this. Yeah. Oh, look at that.
This is what we're talking about.
Yeah, that was a different Karl Towns and a different Joel Embiid back then. You had Ben Simmons on the floor. That's how you know it's old for them. They don't know what Ben Simmons is nowadays. Now, if you go through Joel Embiid in the semifinals, and let's just say the Detroit Pistons are waiting, and it's Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. This is the biggest litmus test on everything that we say Karl Anthony Towns is or is not. And if the Knicks get to the finals, he's going to have to be a catalyst for that.
It's their time, right? For the Knicks, the thing has broken in their direction. Like we were talking about how well things.
Greeny, you are setting them up for disappointment.